interesting edifice on the agenda, the famous Arthur Rose Museum here at Claflin University. The structure was erected in 1898 and was designed by the first ever African American architect in the United States, William Wilson Cook, with the very bricks being made by the students that attended the university at that time. The museum was named after alumnus Arthur Rose, who contributed many pieces of art to the museum. Now I'll turn over to Zaria Walker with today's quick facts.
Welcome to the Arthur Rose Museum. Located right in between the WVM Auditorium and historic Tingley Hall, you will find the site of Claflin University's first library. In 1898, Priscilla E. Lee Bennett gave funds for the construction of the Lee Library. Years later, after the library relocated to another part of campus, this building housed the art department for many years with Professor Arthur Rose as chairman. The art department later moved to Lehman Hall, after which the Board of Trustees decided to convert the old Lee Library into a museum. For this reason, we now know it to be the Arthur Rose Museum.
Arthur Rose was born in Charleston, South Carolina in 1921. After attending high school and a short time in the Navy during World War II, he attended Claflin University, where he received his bachelor's degree in 1950. Upon graduation, he relocated to New York, where he furthered his studies at NYU. Although miles away from home, Rose's artwork was deeply inspired by his Charleston roots. Rose was known for his expressionistic sculptures, although he viewed himself as a painter. After receiving his graduate degree in 1952, he returned to Orangeburg, where he completed a 31-year tenure at Claflin University. He served as the chair of the art department as well as an associate art professor. While there, he established an annual fence exhibit where students could display their artwork along Claflin's front fence. Rose not only affected Claflin, but also the state as a whole. Many successful black artists in South Carolina saw him as the Dean of Black Arts in South Carolina. 10 years after his death in 1955, Claflin chose to rename their art gallery the Arthur Rose Museum.
To obtain more information about the Arthur Rose Museum, we met with Dr. Brenda Faison, director of the Arthur Rose Museum and Art Department Chair, to learn more about the history and the architecture of the building. After a downstairs tour, we headed upstairs to view artwork of previous students. Outside, you can view the brickwork done by the architect and even the year the museum was built, carved in stone. Also located on the front of the building is an owl and torch, which is the symbol of education and knowledge. In May of 1996, a statue from the art department chair during that time was dedicated to Dr. Henry N. Tisdale.
The original purpose of the establishment was the Lee Library, the first library at Claflin University, which further housed the art department and ultimately became known as the Arthur Rose Museum. The museum was constructed under the presidency of Dr. Lewis N. Denton in conjunction with Priscilla E. Lee Bennett, whose monetary contributions towards the financial stability of the institution and the library allowed for the founding of what is now known as the Arthur Rose Museum.
Another one of Kennedy's ultimate focus was to simply provide a cultural experience for the residents of Orangeburg, South Carolina. An example of a person who has had an impact on the Arthur Rose Museum is Professor Winston Kennedy. He is a former professor from Howard University and taught printmaking, art management, photography, and art appreciation for over 29 years. During his time as head of Claflin's art department and museum curator, Kennedy's vision was to breathe new life into the art department. Professor Kennedy even helped to start mixed media showcasings at Claflin University. Another one of Kennedy's ultimate focus was to simply provide a cultural experience for the residents of Orangeburg, South Carolina.
The reporters here at the History Speakeasy have just uncovered more information about the life of William Wilson Cook. Cook was the son of former slave Wilson Cook and his wife Magdalena Walker, a free woman of color before the Civil War. William Wilson Cook began an apprenticeship as a carpenter in 1885. He enrolled in Claflin University in 1888 and undertook a class in architectural drawing taught by Robert Charles Bates. In 1893, he graduated from Claflin with a college preparatory diploma in liberal arts. From 1893 to 1894, he assisted the vocational superintendent. In 1894, he was elected superintendent of industrial arts at Georgia State Industrial College for Colored Youth in Savannah. After 3 years, he returned to Claflin as superintendent of manual training and industrial arts. During the next 5 years, he earned a Bachelor of Science in Technology degree in 1902 at Claflin, studied architecture at MIT and art history at Columbia University, and designed the Slater Building, where Claflin's industrial courses were held. In 1907, Cook took a 3-day federal civil service examination in Boston, a test which blacks were not allowed to take in Washington, D.C. He passed and was assigned the office of the supervising architect at the United States Treasury Department, the first black man to ever be employed there. His initial appointment was as an architectural draftsman. In 1909, he was transferred to field operations, where he supervised the construction of federal courthouses and post offices in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Illinois. He remained in the position until 1980, when he was promoted and transferred to the War Department as Director of Vocational Guidance and Training for Negro Labor Battalions at Wilberforce University in Ohio. After the war, Cook practiced architecture in Gary, Indiana. He was the first African American to obtain an Indiana State Architect's license in 1929. But the Depression ruined his business, and in 1931, he returned to the supervising architect's office as a construction engineer. He retired in 1941 and sadly passed on August 25, 1949. He was buried at Fern Oak Cemetery in Griffith, Indiana. Now that's all we're able to gather on the life of this amazing man, the first black man to get his architectural degree in the United States of America. Stay tuned.
So, what was the original intent of the Arthur Rose Museum? What was it before it turned into the museum?
Before it turned into the museum, I think it was the library.
Yes, you are
Okay,
correct.
well, thank you.
Awesome.
Can you tell me where the Arthur Rose Museum is located?
It's between the Tingley and the WVM.
The Tingley and the WVM. Very good. Do you know who Arthur Rose was?
I do.
I mean, who Arthur Rose was? Who was he?
Arthur Rose was a former art teacher here, and he's the namesake for the museum behind us.
Very good.
What was the Arthur Rose Museum before it became a museum?
It was the Lee Library.
Awesome, thank you.
Hey.
Have you heard of the Arthur Rose Museum?
Oh yeah, I did. Was it the first library on campus?
It was.
Where is the Arthur Rose Museum located?
It's located in between Tingley and the WVM Auditorium.
Awesome, thank
To
you.
recap our top segments, the Arthur Rose Museum, established in 1898 under Dr. Oscar Rogers, is one of the many wonders of Claflin University. The historically recognized monument is a stronghold for the arts on Claflin's campus and strives to promote artwork with its annual exhibition coming up on the 3rd of September through October 27th. Thanks for watching today's episode of the History Speakeasy. Have yourselves a blessed night. We are
Positive.
Resourceful.
Opportunists.
Who are
United.
diverse.
Have you ever heard of the Arthur Rose Museum?
Yes.
Do you know what it was originally, before it was a museum?
I learned this freshman year,
Right.
and then I promptly forgot it.
Oh, thanks
Yeah.
for your time.
Okay, I'm good.
All right. So, do you guys know who Arthur Rose was?
No.
Okay.
Yes, man. What's up?
So, have you ever been to the Arthur Rose Museum?
Yes, I have.
You have? Okay. Do you know what it used to be before it was a museum?
It was the art room.
The art room?
Yep.
And before that?
Pushing it now. I don't know anymore.
It was opened as a museum.
No.
Can you tell me where
Oops,
the
start
Arthur...
over. Yeah, it like just started recording.
Somebody get the umbrella.
Yes, we're recording?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to the art. We should just do this inside at this point.